said, Andrew Cohoat here from Mesh Systems. We're an IoT solutions innovator, and we're participating today to kind of give you the partner perspective in the field that works with enterprises or organizations around the world to make the Internet of Things real. We want to show, first of all, appreciation to Microsoft and AngelBeat for including us today, and also to all of you for taking the time to listen. I lead up our sales and marketing teams here at Mesh, and I'm going to show you some real-world case studies that will illustrate the power of IoT, hopefully in some new and novel ways you hadn't considered before. And first of all, just want to give you a brief snapshot of who we are. So we're headquartered in Indianapolis, what we affectionately call the Silicon Prairie. We focus exclusively on IoT and work with large enterprise companies to design, develop, deploy, and then typically help manage end-to-end IoT solutions exclusively on the Azure cloud. Our engineers are deeply talented up and down the stack, all the way from designing and manufacturing custom sensors and other enablement hardware when needed, to the various ways to connect devices to the cloud, whether that be Wi-Fi, cellular, LoRaWAN, etc. And then, of course, standing up the right cloud environment on Azure with a rich UI to visualize and take actions after the data is collected and aggregated. We've been at it 15 years. It wasn't even called the Internet of Things when we got started. So we've built just about every IoT application you can think of, and it's really shaped the way we help our customers today from cradle to grave. We are laser focused on helping our clients identify what their business value hypothesis is related to IoT, and then testing that hypothesis rapidly and in an agile manner. If the hypothesis turns out to be true and positive, we design for production scale. If not, we work with the customer to rethink the approach, both from a technical and business perspective. Next, please. And before we talk about some of the solutions we've developed with Microsoft, we want to talk first specifically about how we leverage IoT Central, something that Avni touched on, because it's the backbone of almost every solution that we deploy today, and it rapidly accelerates our time to market. Microsoft provides us with this awesome SaaS platform, and it's our job to work with our enterprise customers to build out the valuable extensions and customer user interfaces that they may need to utilize IoT Central in the perfect way for their particular application needs. So I'd just like to talk about a few key features. You can see them on the screen here, but I'll specifically mention a couple. So first of all, speed. We're able to quickly deploy new IoT applications without having to glue together custom application middleware each time in multiple regions, countries, etc. The common platform components like device management and provisioning exist right out of the box in IoT Central. Secondly, reduced integration and deployment costs. The costs are simply lower because IoT Central is priced on a per device basis and automatically scales up the underlying Azure resources as your number of devices grow, and which is really important for us and our customers. When I talk about reduced friction, I'm also thinking about security there. When you add an Azure Sphere, and I'm not sure if there's a session today specifically on Azure Sphere, but when you add an Azure Sphere hypersecure MCUs with the associated cloud services into the equation with IoTC, you solve an age-old problem for retailers and operators like yourselves in regards to integrating into your existing in-store wireless infrastructure. I'm sure you've all had significant security, deployment, and management concerns with previous IoT applications riding your in-store Wi-Fi networks that have maybe even possibly derailed the IoT application altogether. Azure Sphere allows you to really leverage the substantial investment you've made in your existing infrastructure. And lastly, it allows us and our customers, IoT Central does, to focus on business value. Since the common middleware components are taken care of, we can really be freed up to build applications and focus on getting the business value faster. You'll notice that speed is a common theme throughout this presentation. So next, please. And so, okay, so we want to get into some fun stories about projects that we've deployed in similar industries today. So here we worked with Reynolds, a well-known CPG that is now part of British American Tobacco. An innovation group at RJR had cooked up an idea for a new digital couponing system and rewards program. Working hand in hand with RJR, we built a special coupon scanner that could read user-specific 2D barcodes, kind of like QR codes, but slightly different. When a coupon is read by the scanner, the cloud validation server confirms the coupon is legitimate, unused, and non-expired. Then the cloud beams down the UPC's barcode to the scanner, and it shows on the e-ink display on the operator side. This architecture solves three important problems. Firstly, it completely eliminates a very costly fraud issue by burning previously used coupons. Secondly, because the system validated and counted all the coupons in real time, convenience stores are reimbursed for the coupons after only 2 weeks versus the standard 6-month by hand counting method. Finally, the whole system is point of sale agnostic, which means it's deployable in essentially any of 180,000 convenience stores in America. One of the major target outcomes of IoT is the creation of new business models and revenue streams. The coupon system that RJR and Mesh built together did just that. RJR spun out a new company called Spot More to operate and sell the system. Next, please. And one of the key takeaways is that once you find an IoT use case that's valuable enough to merit bringing in this case, a multi-purpose gateway with 4G LTE service, it opens up a plethora of other IoT applications with high return on investments, as it did for RJR and their C-store operator partners. You can see some of the other applications, including digital signage, cooler monitoring, and even a smart mop sensor, which ensured the cleanliness of bathrooms and greatly increased hot food sales in the actual C-stores. Next, please. So Ron, I could not get through this presentation. I think Ron was thirsty for a cold beverage today, so I had to talk about the Social Tap program. This was a super fun and exciting project for all the sports and beer fans out there. We worked really closely for 3 years with Anheuser-Busch to design and deploy a program they called the Social Tap. So as I mentioned before, we're based in Indianapolis, and essentially imagine you're at a Buffalo Wild Wings here in Indy watching the Colts, and the exact second that Phillip Rivers, should have been Andrew Luck, but maybe we paid him too much money, so he went away. Phillip Rivers throws a touchdown pass. The exact second the beer tap handle lights up and flashes, touchdown Colts. And it also shows the score displayed, messaged across the display. And in the cloud, Mesh built an application that consumes live sports data from stats.com so that bars and restaurants all over the country could then subscribe to their favorite NFL teams. When the system receives the celebration message, the tap does its thing once again by lighting up and displaying the message. And the key is that all of that needs to happen within the 6-second tape delay of live TV. The core purpose of this project was about engaging consumers, and it also offered the restaurant operators a chance to offer promotions. So maybe when their local team scored, they could offer $1 off pints for 15 minutes or an hour or whatever it may be. And I think, speed is really one of the keys to this story. We tested the value proposition and concept in a 3-month sprint and got it out to 50 sites in an agile manner. And the following fall, just 9 months later, we scaled it to 4,000 locations. And then 9 months after that, it went to another 8,000 locations. So in total, it was 12,000 plus locations and over 25,000 social taps that were deployed. And how do you move fast? You pick great partners. We have Microsoft for the underlying platform technologies, and we also had a great cellular network provider. This was a bring your own network approach that made sense here. So it was very, very important. And just a bonus tidbit here. Since Mesh is comprised of great engineers, we identified early on that there was value in including a small, affordable accelerometer sensor in the tap handle as well. And shortly after these were deployed into real bars, we started to notice quite frequently taps in the forward position for very long periods of time. At first, it was a head scratcher. We thought maybe we had an issue in our firmware or something. But if you can visualize, you might recall at your local bar that when kegs are tapped, the bartenders often put the levers in that forward position with a cup over the tap to indicate that it is tapped. And as you can imagine, this is good intel for AB InBev because it's inexcusable, really, for a bar to be out of Bud Light or Budweiser on a busy Friday or Saturday night. This is a great example of an unintended but valuable fringe benefit that can come after you deploy a smart solution. Next, please. And so maybe the most common IoT application we get brought into nowadays is simply around where are my things and are they healthy? So here we worked with a Fortune 100 global food and beverage company deploy a cold chain tracking program to provide them with increased visibility of supply chain assets, and to ensure that projects are delivered on time and in specification from a temperature and humidity standpoint. This major CPG saw the need for an ultra-secure appliance that can enable a multitude of IoT applications in their own production plants, distribution centers, and also their customers' retail facilities. And they chose, as I talked about earlier, Azure Sphere as the backbone of that appliance. This solution enables a whole host of IoT applications that are relevant to their brands, cold chain being one of the most important. This cost-effective and ultra-secure network appliance is easy to integrate with a multitude of low-cost sensors that are available on the shelf. Next, please. Okay, we covered beer, so it's only fitting that we get you a great cup of coffee. We've worked for many years with the premier coffee machine OEM in North America, BUND, to maximize their equipment operating conditions, with the goal being to minimize downtime and lower lifetime ownership costs. To be clear, BUND doesn't need our help in making the world's best coffee machines. This family-owned company has been doing it for 5 generations. But to deliver on the remote product service initiatives, they look to partner with Mesh Systems for all IoT aspects of the program. Mesh provides the embedded cellular technology within their automated espresso machines to connect them to the cloud. And at the BUND Control Center, service technicians have real-time insights into machine performance through a secure cloud-based application, providing device software management, configuration, interactive dashboards, notifications, and reporting. We're proud to still be BUND's prime IoT partner 10 years later. And lastly, what we want to show is an example where Mesh worked with Microsoft directly to extend Azure IoT. We worked with the IoT Central product team to help create the live video analytics template to empower our mutual customers with rich connected cameras that infer and detect consumer objects and behaviors. In these visuals on the screen, what you're seeing is that every time the camera detects a cell phone, TV, or computer, it uploads a video to Azure Media Services that is linked in the event grid, which is shown on the right. What does this mean to you? No more searching, first of all, for the footage reactively. Now you can be proactive because everything is event-driven. So I think Amit showed some of the app templates earlier, and this is an example where we worked with Microsoft to construct one of those. So, okay, that's it from Mesh Systems. I really hope that you found our content helpful and interesting, and my contact information will be provided in the collateral post-webinar, and please reach out if you think that we can help you explore any type of exciting IoT initiative. And thanks so much again for listening in, and